Hey guys, my name's Travis and this is Coyote Hunting Fundamentals. These videos are going to be kind of short. They're going to get you some fast information to build a good foundation, get you putting down some fur this winter. Um, I'm not a professional. Nobody pays me to say, do, or use anything. Everything that I say, do, or use is my opinion based off my experiences, so take it as you will. This is going to be my gear guide of what I believe is essential gear. To start with, let's talk about your rifle. Um, a lot of guys think you need some fancy coyote cartridge, and that's simply not true. If all you have is one deer rifle, maybe that's all you can afford. You know, a 270, 308, 30-06, 243, 300 Win Mag even. If you want to save fur, that's also fine. You can use those rifles. You need to shoot a different projectile more than likely, and we'll talk about that. But those rifles are very viable. That's primarily what I use. Um, your deer camo is also going to be just fine. If you're going to hunt into January or February, you might throw another base layer on or two. Um, the next thing we're going to talk about, and this is really the big one, is your call. There's e-calls, hand calls, and diaphragms, and there's a ton of them out there, and I know they're confusing which one you might want. And I'm going to quickly kind of break down the pros and cons. With e-calls, I have two different ones, and that's what I'm going to talk about. Is the Cabela's Outfitter series powered by Fox Pro. It's like an imitation of a little Fox Pro call. It's got their sounds in it. It's lightweight, which is big. It fits in this vest over here, but it's also not very loud. Out here in Nebraska, it's windy, and if I have time to call coyotes, I'm going to call coyotes whether it's windy or not. Which leads me to the Fox Pro Shockwave, which is what I use almost exclusively anymore. Um, it's loud, it's heavier, and it has speakers that I can call up two different canyons if I need to, if I'm trying to maximize a set. Uh, they sound great. I highly recommend them if you can afford them. The problem with a e-call is that they won't ever make a funny noise like your hand call will. If your reed freezes on a hand call, or if you just screw up, you could make a funny noise and turn that dog right around, send him right back into the hills. That e-call, unless it's damaged, it's going to sound good every time. The problem is, it'll also sound the same. Um, so if you're hunting the same set a couple times a year, and let's say you're hunting public ground, and you go to this set a couple times a year, well, what you may not realize is there's also two or three other guys that may be hitting that same general area, and you're all using, let's say, Eastern Cottontail. The dogs are going to wise up really fast, and they're not going to come into that anymore. So that leads me into hand calls and diaphragms. If you have an e-call, you're going to have to transition into these at some point, at least around here. Um, with an e-call, you can send out a howl, and then you can answer it with this and put a little bit more emotion into it. Same thing with the diaphragm. These hand calls, I'm terrible with them. It doesn't matter if it's a duck call, a goose call, a deer call, a coyote call, I'm terrible. This is Dog Soldier's Blood Red Moon, and I actually sound pretty good on this one. I found it to be very easy to use. It's very rugged. I haven't broke it yet. That's saying something. Then we got diaphragms, turkey hunters. You guys know what's going on. A little bit harder to use maybe, but they're light enough, and you should have them in your bag. You should practice with them, both of these. The relationship and the pros and cons of these is there's not a lot of movement with these. It's just your mouth, so you're not setting a call down to grab your rifle. You can have this in your mouth and call with your rifle shouldered. Hand calls are generally going to be a little bit louder and directional, so you can send that sound out one direction if necessary. We talked about e-calls, pros and cons already. Um, I suggest using them all together. If you're just starting out, you can get an e-call. That'll get you through several seasons, more than likely. But you need to transition to these also. Next on the list is a chair or a vest. Over here you'll see a vest. That's a turkey hunting vest. It's got a kickstand. That way you can sit comfortably. They also make a turkey lounger that I use more often than the vest, because I can turn it a little easier. A lot of people don't think about being comfortable in your set. If you're comfortable, you're not going to wiggle around as much, which is huge. Next on the list, we're going to talk about this decoy back here, which is they call it a Kojo. it just spins up and goes in my bag. That thing is excellent, especially in February when they're breeding. They'll see that thing and they'll just come hauling in. It's lightweight. It goes in the bag. There's no reason not for me to not have it. The last thing we're really going to talk about that most people don't is a cover scent. A lot of dogs are going to come in from downwind. This is Craven's Canine Force Trap Lure. This stuff is disgusting. If you get it on your hands, not only will your wife regret it, but you will too. I keep this stuff in my vest or my call bag and crack it open, set it downwind to me. And I consistently have dogs come in from downwind and they still come in. You'll see them smell it and they know, they smell something. But hopefully it's not you. Now that really wraps it up for my essential gear. There's some things we're going to go into in some other videos, and we'll talk about ghillies in some other videos and whatnot, some of the off stuff that I use. But that's it for now. Catch you guys on the next one.